All right, guys, so we are back. We just got done putting Mario in with some animations. We are going to jump to the event sheet and start getting some events in. But before we do that, one last thing I forgot to catch at the end of the last video. A couple more properties to change on Mario. Oh, and I need to, you can see he's snapping into the grid right now. So if you're done with the ground, we need to take that grid off. So I'm going to go back to level 1. I'm going to uncheck the show and snap to grid so that Mario can freely move around now. Okay, and then I'm going to go into his properties here on the left side. And I'm going to change his jump strength because he was jumping way too high. I'm going to set him to 400 here. And I'm going to set the gravity to 1000. And I think that'll be just a little bit closer to feeling like what Mario should do. Oh yeah, that's like perfect. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, so those settings I feel like work pretty well. But this is your game, so you can change it to whatever you want. If you want Mario's jump strength to be 5,000 and he like jumps up like a rocket man and never falls down, that's totally up to you. Okay, the whole idea is we're just programming, we're using it, we're remembering how to do things in Construct. That's the whole point of this. So don't worry about having things be a particular way. Um, I'm not really grading it. It's pretty much based on just participating that I can see that you've done it and you've worked on it and that you're getting reacquainted. Okay. All right. So let's go to our event sheet. So we're going to go to ES Game. So just double click that. And we are just going to start with some basic events here. So first one, we're going to do a system start event. So I'm just going to double click system and I'm going to do on start of layout. And we are just going to make it so that the layout will set to the layout width. So we're going to do background. We're going to do set width. Okay, and then we're going to do layout width. Okay, and basically what this means is no matter how big my level is at the start of any layout, it's automatically going to take my tiled background and make it that size. So that's just a nice little thing to be there. It's not 100% necessary for what we're doing now, but it's a useful thing to understand how to do in case you just want to be able to put a layout down and just have it set automatically for you. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and add a group. Remember, having groups and organization is super important. You are graded on it. If I go in and your code is a big jumbled mess, even if your game works perfectly, you're going to lose points because it's very hard to read and very unorganized. So we need to keep it organized with groups. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to add a group, and let's just call it like a Mario animations and actions group. Okay. Now remember, when we want to make an event in the group, there's a couple ways you could do it. So one is you could just click add event. It would make the event outside the group, and then you could drag the event into the group. Or you can right click on the group and you could add a sub event to the group, which adds it to the group. Or what I recommend is you just click this button here and just add the event directly into the group. And I'm just going to throw out this reminder right now because students always get confused. When you're doing the presentations, they use the word sub event a lot. And so people always assume it's like a sub event of the last event they made. But sometimes in presentations, they'll say, make a sub event to the Mario group. And what they're telling you in reality is just make an event inside that group. So it's technically not really a sub event. It's a full normal event. It's just in the group. So I don't like that they use that terminology because I think it's confusing. So anytime it says make a sub event in a group or make an event in a group, just click add event to this and it'll have the group name right here. Okay. So we are going to do the Mario animations. So we're going to click here. We are going to do Mario and we are going to do on moved right here. And remember, you can just type in stuff and you'll find it. So Mario on moved, and then the action is going to be set animation to walk. So we do Mario animation and walk. Now remember, um, when you're typing in the name here, if you just erase the quotation marks and type one, you will see the list of your animations here and you want to double click on the one that you did. You can type it in manually, but if you don't write it perfect, it's not going to work. And the casing is important. If this were a lowercase w, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't read. Okay. So Mario set animation to walk. So that's what that first event should say. Okay. So now I'm going to add another event and we'll do Mario and we're going to do on stopped. So I'm going to type in stop. Here's on stopped. And then we are going to set its animation to default. So I'm going to add an action for Mario, set animation, and then I'm going to type a quotation mark over that and then double click on the default. Okay. Now remember, as we program, the more efficient and the faster we can do things, the better. So a lot of you might already be comfortable with this, but we can copy and paste events that are similar. So I could grab this by the green arrow and I could hold control and just drag another one above or below it. Okay, or you can right click it and you can copy. You can right click it again and you can paste. That's another way you can do it. Okay. Just keep in mind, and I'm just going to review this because it's super important. If you're moving events around or copying events or whatever, if you want the entire event, you have to click the far left of it over here. And it's not always going to have a green arrow. It might have like an empty space, but it's got to be this area right where my cursor is. You can kind of see there's like a little rectangle in here. This area is what you click on to select the whole event. And you'll know you have the whole event because the entire thing highlights. If you try to copy or move and you click on this, it's only going to move the condition. And what it will do is it won't go above or below something. It's going to add it as a condition to a different event, which you don't want. Same here. This is the action that happens from the condition. So if I have just this, it's going to make it an action of a different condition. It's not actually moving the event around or copying the whole event. So just remember, far left. Make sure it's all highlighted if you're moving or copying the entire event. Okay. So the one that I copied, we're going to change it from on stopped to jump. So if you edit an event, you just double click it, change it to jump instead of that. So we're going to say on jump. And then we're going to change this, double click it, type a quotation mark over it, and get the jump animation instead. Okay, so we got a few of those in. Okay, then what we have to do is we have to insert the keyboard so that we can actually control Mario and tell it when to do these things. So what we're going to do is this is like adding a sprite or adding the tiled background, right? So I can't double click because I'm not on my layout. So I could click back to my layout and double click, but that's when I like to use this object folder because I want to stay in my event sheet. So right click the object folder, add a new object type. I'm going to add the keyboard to the game. Now remember, the keyboard isn't a physical object that you see. I mean, you can see it here on the side, but it's not a physical like sprite or anything. It's just saying that we're telling the game that that's a control mechanism we're using, and now it's available to code with on our event sheet. Okay, so let's add a new event to the Mario group, and we're going to do keyboard, and we're going to do key is down. Do not do key code is down. A lot of people do that by mistake. Key is down right here. We're going to click and choose the right arrow, and we're going to click OK. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add some action. So while we're holding down the right arrow, we are basically going to have, we're going to control his mirroring, right? So if I run the game right now, make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. You can see Mario's walking, he's jumping, all that's working, but when I walk left, he's doing a moonwalk, right? So remember that those keyboard commands we can do to mirror his body so he goes the way that we want. So we're going to add an action. We're going to do Mario. We're going to do set mirrored. So just type in mirror, M-I-R-R. And we're going to set him to, with the right arrow is down, we want to do not mirrored because he's already facing right, so we just don't want to mirror him. And then we want to do the same thing for the left arrow, but we want to do the opposite. So I'm going to right click and copy. Whoops, not paste. So I could highlight it too. If you're a keyboard person, you could do Control C to copy and Control V as in Van to paste. That works too. Or you can do the right click, copy and paste, or you can do the Control drag. So 3 ways to copy and paste. All right, double click. We're going to go left arrow here. Okay, and then here we're going to change this to mirrored. Okay, and then that should instantly fix our problem. So walking right, walking left, we're good to go there. Perfect. Okay, then we're going to do the on landed event, and this is just like on flip. It's a little bit more complicated. So we're going to add another event. We're going to do Mario on landed. Okay, and then remember we do sub events here because this is the whole deal that we had with flip, right? So when our character lands, there's two situations. They could either be moving or not moving. If they're not moving, we want them to be a default. If they're moving, we want him to go right into walking animation. Because the way it works right now is if I jump while moving, you'll see he stays in jump animation and he's just like kind of dancing around there. Okay, so we want to make sure we fix that. All right, so let's go ahead and close that. So we're going to add sub events here. So I'm going to right click where the green arrow is. I'm going to add a sub event. Okay, and I'm going to do Mario is moving. So I'm going to type MOV for moving, is moving. Okay, and if he is moving when he lands, I'm going to add an action and set his animation to walk. Now I have one right up here. So I'm going to hold control and just drag that one down while holding control. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the far left here. So see, here's an example. This doesn't have the green arrow, but this is the same area. If I want to hit the whole thing, you got to be on this far left area here. So highlight this whole thing and copy and paste it. So I'm going to do Control C, Control V, and paste another one. So basically, if Mario is moving, we go to walk. Here we have to say Mario is not moving. Now there isn't a code for not moving, so we just have to invert this one and reverse it. So if I right click on this platform is moving, I can invert it. So if it has the red X, that means it's the opposite of what it says. So this means he is not moving, and we're just going to change this to default. Okay. So now that'll fix that problem there. Okay, and then what we have to do is we have to make him play the fall animation. So let's just add another event to the group. We're going to do Mario. We're going to do on fall. Make sure you do on fall, not is falling. Okay, and then action, Mario, set animation to fall. And once again, you could have just copied a different animation action down to here. So you could have copied any of these, and put it down here and then just edit it. That would have worked too. Okay, so that should do that part. Now we are going to do Mario ducking. And this is different because Flip didn't duck. So you guys haven't done this before. So we're going to add another event. We're going to do keyboard. We're going to do key is down because basically when we hold the down arrow, he should be ducking, right? So key is down. Click. We're going to down arrow. Okay, so keyboard key is down. We did the down arrow. We're going to do set his animation to duck. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this one. And I'm going to change it from fall to duck. Okay. And the other issue, so watch this. This is kind of funny. I'm going to run this. So you can see when I hold down, he ducks. Okay. The part that's funny is if I do this, I can still like keep moving while ducking, right? So what we need to do is we're going to add another action to this keyboard down arrow is down, and we're going to set his max speed to 0. So we're going to add an action for Mario. We're going to do max speed, which is this one right here, to 0. So this is going to make it so that if I'm ducking, I can't just like do this weird crawl thing with Mario and move around. Okay. Now, what we have to do is we now have to make it so Mario can get back up and get his speed back. Because now that we've said speed 0, if we don't program him to go back to his normal speed, then he's going to stay at 0 speed, even if I'm not ducking. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to just, I'll make a new event. So let's add a new event to the group. We're going to do keyboard. And now we have to do on key released. And we want to say when we release the down arrow, that means we're done ducking, right? So when the down arrow is released, we are going to set his max speed back to 175, which I think is what we set it to in one of my earlier videos here. So we set the max speed back to 175. Okay. Also, what we can do is when we release the down arrow, we can set his animation back to default as well. And let's go ahead and try it really quick. Yep, so when I let go, he stands back up, and I can't like do that crazy crawl thing anymore. Perfect, we're good to go there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a shooting animation. So let's add another event to this group. And we're almost done. We're getting to the end of this video. Just a couple more things I want to get in. Mario, let me go. cancel here. So add a new event. It's going to be keyboard on key pressed right here, spacebar, or whatever button you want to shoot. Okay, and click done. So on space pressed. Okay, we're going to do here is we're going to do Mario, set animation to shoot. There we go. Okay. And then what we're going to do so Mario doesn't just stay in shoot animation if you don't move, we're going to have him like wait a half a second and then go back to default. So I'm going to add an action here. I'm going to do system wait. And we're going to do 0.5 seconds. And then we're going to set his animation back to default. Okay. And I'm going to explain why we did it. So don't do this right now. I'm just going to quickly disable these so you can see what happens if we don't have this. Okay, so if I run the game right now and I shoot, that's his shoot animation, but he's just going to sit there forever, and that looks kind of dumb. Now, when I move, he'll get out of that. But if you're just standing still, it looks weird that he's just constantly in that animation. So by just putting this in, I'm going to toggle it enabled again. It's toggle disabled, toggle disabled. Now when I run it, you'll see I can just press the space bar and he like shoots for a half second really quick and then goes back to normal. And you can change that if you want to be faster. Like this could be 0.25 if you want. It would go a little bit faster. That's totally up to you. Okay. Now keep in mind, Mario isn't actually shooting yet because we haven't made that. And I think I might leave that up to you to do later. I'm going to have, after this video, I'm going to do a couple more just little bonus things. But if in those videos I don't have you program the shooting in, then you can do that on your own. There's a fireball sprite in there. You can give it bullet behavior and kind of play around with that a little bit, but we'll see. But for now, we're just doing it for the animation. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to get our brick inserted into the game, get some bricks on the screen, and then that'll end this video. So let's go back to our level 1 layout really quick. We're going to double click. We're going to add a sprite, and we're going to call it brick. Okay, insert, click on screen. Click to load a single image. There's my brick. We're going to resize it. So we're going to click this resize button up here. We're going to go 20 by 20. Okay. I'm going to just zoom in so we can see it a little bit here. Okay, we are going to put the origin in the bottom left. So I'm going to right click origin, quick assign bottom left. Now remember, if you don't see this origin up here, you just have to click on this little target here. And then you right click that, you'll get the origin there. Okay. And that should be it there. And then we're just going to set up a 20 by 20 grid really quick. So click on level 1 on the right, set up your grid size to 20 by 20, and then do snap to grid, show grid. Basically put the brick on and it should line up really well. Hold control and put a bunch in. Here's another little trick you can do. If I make like a row of 4 blocks like that, I could drag like a rectangle over them. And then if I hold, I got to zoom in a little bit, so I'm too far away. Let me zoom in a little bit here. They're all 4 selected, so I could hold control and then I could take this whole chunk out and do a bunch of these big chunks if you don't want to do a bunch of single blocks. So that works as well. All right, so that is it for this part of the video.